The cameras were rolling, the lights were blinding, and millions of viewers were watching live when the impossible happened. Jasmine Crockett, standing firm at the center of the stage, raised a stack of papers high above her head and declared with unshakable certainty, "These are the hidden letters of Melania Trump, and tonight, America deserves the truth." The room froze. For a brief moment, even the seasoned journalists gasped, unsure if they were witnessing a stunt or the unraveling of one of the deepest secrets of the Trump family. The audience erupted into whispers, social media feeds exploded, and all eyes locked on Melania, whose expression betrayed something she could not hide. What was supposed to be a routine broadcast had just turned into a national earthquake. Jasmine's words cut through the silence like a blade. No more rumors, no more cover-ups. These letters speak for themselves, and the world will hear them tonight. The tension became unbearable, as viewers sensed that what followed could shatter reputations and rewrite political narratives in real time. As the studio tried to regain control, the weight of the moment became clear. These letters were not random scraps of paper. They were private correspondences written by Melania Trump herself, letters never meant to see the light of day. In them, she confided frustrations, doubts, and private opinions about Donald Trump, his allies, and the fragile alliances that held their empire together. The live broadcast had brought together key voices. Jasmine Crockett, known for her fearless tone and sharp tongue, had chosen this stage deliberately. Across from her sat veteran journalists, eager to question but stunned into silence by the scale of the revelation. On the side of the screen, analysts and commentators scrambled to react, whispering into their microphones, aware that history was unfolding in front of them. And at the center of it all was Melania. Normally poised, reserved, and distant, she now looked cornered under the glare of the cameras. The nation watched her face as the letters were waved in the air, each sheet representing a potential bombshell. Millions of Americans at home leaned closer to their screens, hungry for every word, sensing that what they were about to hear could fracture the carefully crafted image of the Trump dynasty. Jasmine Crockett adjusted the papers in her hands and began to read aloud. Her voice was steady, deliberate, and merciless. In her own words, she declared, Melania Trump wrote, "I no longer trust the circle around Donald. They call themselves loyal, but they wait like vultures for his mistakes." The audience gasped. The letter continued, exposing private fears that Donald Trump's closest advisors were plotting against him, using his impulsive nature as leverage for their own gain. Cameras zoomed in on Melania, who shook her head furiously, mouthing the words, "This is false." But Jasmine pressed on. Another excerpt followed, sharper, more personal. "Donald does not listen to me anymore. He is surrounded by noise, not truth. I feel like a stranger in my own home, and I fear his downfall will consume us all." The studio erupted. Commentators whispered into their microphones, news tickers lit up across networks, and Twitter feeds ignited with hashtags spreading faster than the broadcast itself. Melania, her composure cracking, interrupted with a trembling voice. "Those letters are taken out of context. They are private reflections, not truths to be twisted in this circus." But Jasmine struck back instantly. "Context does not erase your words. America deserves to know what the First Lady was thinking while the nation was being misled." The tension climbed higher with every sentence. What began as whispers of doubt had transformed into accusations of betrayal, echoing across the studio and into millions of homes. The letters were no longer just papers. They were daggers, cutting through the illusion of unity within the Trump family. Jasmine Crockett held up the final letter, her eyes locked on Melania, her voice cutting through the chaos. "This one," she said, "is the most devastating of all." She unfolded the page and read aloud. "If the truth ever comes out, it will not be Donald who pays the price. It will be me and our son, and I cannot carry this weight forever." The studio went silent. For a moment, even the cameras seemed to hesitate, capturing every flicker of panic on Melania's face. Her hands trembled as she reached forward, demanding the broadcast stop. "Enough! You have no right! Shut this down now!" she cried, her voice echoing with desperation. But Jasmine did not yield. She raised her voice above the uproar. "The truth is no longer hidden. The world will see what you tried to bury, and no amount of panic can silence these words." The audience erupted, some gasping, others applauding. Online, millions of viewers flooded live chats and comment sections, overwhelmed by the shock of what they were witnessing. Producers in the control room argued frantically, but the cameras stayed live, transmitting every second of Melania's unraveling. Her pleas grew sharper. "Stop this circus! You are destroying my family!" But Jasmine's final words drowned her out. "It was not me who destroyed your family, Melania. It was the secrets you thought would never be exposed." The clash had reached its breaking point, a showdown where one woman's panic collided with another's relentless pursuit of truth, leaving the entire nation breathless. When the broadcast finally drew to a close, the weight of what had just unfolded lingered heavy in the air. The studio was no longer a stage, but a battlefield, and the fallout was immediate. Commentators scrambled to interpret the revelations, while social media burned with outrage, disbelief, and endless debate. For Melania, the night had stripped away her carefully preserved image of quiet elegance. What the world had witnessed was not the untouchable First Lady, but a woman caught between loyalty, fear, and her own words now laid bare for all to see. Her panic became the symbol of a dynasty cracking under the weight of its own secrets. For Jasmine Crockett, the moment was defining. She had seized the spotlight with unflinching resolve, turning hidden letters into a weapon that reshaped the political conversation overnight. Her final declaration echoed far beyond the studio walls. America deserves the truth, even when it shakes the highest walls of power. In the days that followed, newspapers blared headlines, pundits dissected every line of the letters, and allies of the Trump family struggled to contain the damage. But the truth could not be undone. The hidden words, once private, had now become part of history, a reminder that no empire is immune from exposure. The night ended not with closure, but with a question that haunted the nation. If these letters revealed so much, what else was still hidden in the shadows? And as millions of viewers replayed the footage, one thing became clear. After this night, nothing in the story of the Trump family would ever look the same again.